Alright, good morning. Nathan here, Beauty to Planks Repair. Got something different for y'all today. We just got a new sun tracker fishing barge, and I've looked on YouTube. There's like no videos of this at all. I'm trying to install my Lowrance 7 fish finder, and it's on a sun tracker 22 Fishin Barge XP3 model. So if you see, I mean, there's just metal shielding all down the bottom of this. So it's not going to be easy, because the transducer is going to go here, and then the screen goes on the captain's chair, which is pretty much in this general area, right up in there. Got the cover on it now, but my goal is, if I can get the wire over or down the pontoon and then over to this boot using a metal rod, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that'll work. So if you guys are actually watching this video, I was probably successful. If I'm not successful, I'll let you know. But yeah, this is going to be an installation of a Lowrance Hook 7 reveal on a 22 sun tracker fishing barge XP3 model. So wish me luck. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make a extension. These things here, they're for fences. If you ever see chain link fences, the poles on the corners, they tend to have these so it stretches out wherever the fence actually ends. I've used them for a number of things, mainly routing electrical wires in the house, whether it's through the walls, through the studs, or something like that. This one got mangled up by a lawnmower, so I got to straighten this out. I'm gonna tape them together because I need quite a bit of feet to send that thing up the tune. But once I get it straight, I'm gonna tape it together, because that's all I have to connect them right now, and hopefully that tape works. So I'm gonna straighten this stuff out real quick, and we'll get back with you. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I was planning on putting it through this, but it's going to be too big to fit through there, so I'm going to send it through here. Probably have to get a rubber grommet on it too at some point, a split one, because I want to get this done. I want to get this thing running. I do have plastic shielding around the transducer. You know, this is just the plastic stuff that you get at AutoZone, O'Reilly Auto Parts, whatever auto parts store you got. Put that on so it won't, maybe it'll last a little bit longer. It won't get cut by that stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna send it through there. I might grab it, or no, there's a, I don't know if you can see it, but there's some stuff in the way. I may send the bar over that way. Oh no, I can't do that. That sucker's in the way. I will have to send it through the same hole. I'm going to have to send the bar through the same hole. And when I count 11 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's going to go all the way up here. And you look across, you can see that boot. We need to go to that boot. So I'm gonna go all the way down here, and then when we get to this end, then I can go over. So I'm gonna get this thing where it's stretched out, and that's the straightest I can get that sucker. One's mangled, one's not. But I'm gonna see if it works. If it not, I'll have to go get another one that's a little bit more straight. But we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna get that thing untangled there and start running her. Alright, here's the end of it. And all I'm gonna do is pretty much just tape it to the end. Pretty much just fish it through. I got an extension, a 10-foot extension too, just in case I need it. I think I will. I didn't do any measurements, but I took this thing down the pontoon and over, and I don't think it's gonna come up. I think it'll go straight, then over, but I don't know how far it'll get up to the captain's chair. But anyways, let's see what this does. So let's do it this way. Okay, we're gonna audible here. I'm gonna send it through this way. There's a lot of traffic going through that hole there. This one here, not as much traffic, so it should be a lot easier getting it through this end. So we're gonna do it this way instead. This is what you call improvising and overcoming. Yeah, I can actually feel the bar on the inside of this. I need to get to here, so just a little bit further. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. Yeah, it's right there. It's right at the tip. I'm pulling it back so I can get the wire off that bar. There just wasn't enough slack. That's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to get this tape off. It's just a terrible angle. So you guys won't be able to see any of it. There's the wire. I need to get it over here. So I'm just gonna feed it. And then I can grab it. There it is. It's down the tune. I'm gonna feed it in. Okay. Got it through the tune, and that there is not long enough to go across. So got to put on that little extension I got. And this should give it enough room to get up. Alright. That's there. Just so I don't hurt these other guys' boat here, I'm gonna probably pull this boat a little forward so I can get it over without causing any damage to anything else. But yeah, this will be the hardest part, guys. I think the hardest part will be running this wire. So far, so good. Alright, boat's moved out. Go back in the back. Alright. Looks like there's an I-beam in the way. Looks like I'm gonna have to cross right here. Looking good, looking good. How far have we got? I don't see it. Oh, it's over. It's right on the other side of this boot. Got it. All right. Should be perfect length. So, transducer is routed. I'm gonna mount it. And I believe it comes with all the hardware needed. This is a power cord. There we go. Yeah, and this part right here, guys, the instructions provided by Lowrance are terrible. It doesn't tell me which hardware goes where, and it doesn't tell me which way this thing's supposed to go. But what I do know is this transducer is supposed to be level with the bottom of your boat. So you pretty much want to get that thing level with the bottom of this little bracket here. You can line something up with it, like get a piece of 2x4 or something like that to line it up, make sure it's nice and straight. I just eyed it, and it seems to work okay for me. Whenever we're out on the boat, seems to be working fine. So the way I did it worked pretty well. But yeah, just wanted to mention that the Lowrance instructions on this are terrible, and you'll see me pull some of the hardware off and put it back on because I just didn't know where some of this stuff went. But anyways, we will continue with the installation of this. One other thing to keep in mind when you're installing this is right behind this is the pump for the aerator. We have the Fishin Barge model, so we have an aerator on our boat. We got 2 of them actually, and the aerator pump is right behind this bracket. So whenever you're installing this transducer, just be careful not to puncture that. Yeah, you don't want to cause any damage to anything while you're installing it. And yeah, just wanted to mention that real quick while we're back here. So if you're putting yours in, just be careful if you have yourself an aerator pump back there. Okay, alright, transducer is on. Alright, I had to go to work for the day. Came back, we still got transducer wiring we gotta get in. Yeah, so let's get up under the captain's chair. We just gotta take off this cover to do more work. Alright, that boot is on the other side of this. So we gotta get that off. Alright, this is gonna be fun. You can see some light. Okay. I'm just gonna see what I can do about getting that in there. I'm gonna need both my hands so y'all won't see nothing. No good place to put this. I may have it up enough where I can pull it all the way through. Transducer is routed. So now we get to mount the screen. Alright guys, for the screen here, I decided to mount it here. I wanted it to be, you know, pretty much like driving down the road and you got your speedometer or something. All the screen stuff is right there in the dash area, and that's pretty much where I wanted it, and how I figured how it would work best for me is just to mount it right here. I saw other models where they have a hook 5 in there, which fits perfectly in that little spot, and I wanted something similar. I was going to get a hook 5, but they didn't have one in stock, so I got the hook 7, which I'm not complaining. The bigger the screen, the better. So for me to mount this, I just mounted it, you know, right here. So I drilled some holes to mount it. But one thing I do want to mention, if you guys are doing it yourself and you're doing it this way, to route in the wires before you mount this bracket here. It's going to give me trouble here in the next few minutes whenever you guys actually see it, because it's a pretty tight fit, as you might be able to tell. I mean, there's not a lot of room around that bracket area to move any wires in and out. So instead of mounting this bracket first, pull in those wires, so maybe it'll be a little bit easier for you. But other than that, this mounting is working pretty good for us. I do have to tighten the bolts every once in a while, because it's not the most secure plastic back there. It's pretty flimsy. One thing I plan on doing at some point is maybe cutting a portion of that plastic off, throwing a small little 2x4 back there, and just bolting it to the 2x4 and pretty much sandwich it to that dash area. And yeah, I think that'll be more secure doing it that way. But this is how I did it initially, and yeah, there's no playbook for this out there that I've seen. So I didn't want to mount it on the windshield or anything like that. I didn't want anything in the way of the driver being able to see anything. On the right hand side, you got the throttle, so it would be in the way over there as well. So yeah, I thought this would be best, and it's working out good, other than me having to tighten up those bolts every once in a while, because that plastic's so flimsy. So, but eventually I'll get around to mounting it with a 2x4 or something back there. So yeah, it's working out good for me, and you'll see what it looks like whenever everything's good to go and installed. There it is. That's pretty much what it'll look like. It's not the greatest, but I think it'll work. Just gotta route the wires through. That's gonna be tight though. Yeah, right here, guys, this is where you route in the power and the transducer to the screen. So the screen needs power, and the transducer needs to get to the screen so it could read what the transducer is actually seeing. I did have trouble whenever I installed this initially. We took the boat out. We found out that the transducer wasn't working. And the reason it wasn't working is because I didn't have the transducer plugged in deep enough so it'll read it. Like, it just wasn't plugged in all the way. And if you guys saw me earlier, whenever I was putting on that extension, I put something on the screen saying, hey, you want to make sure that's nice and tight. I mean, you want to push it in as far as it'll go. If it's not plugged in all the way, transducer is not going to work, and you're going to be like, oh man, now I got to take that whole thing out and make sure it's all pushed together. So every time you are putting in a connection on these things, because those things are watertight now, so make sure you just push them in hard enough. Whenever we took this boat out the first time, after installing it, I mean, we thought everything was good to go, but found out later, okay, transducer's not working, we don't know what the water depth is. It's kind of scary, especially as a new boat owner. Now, this is the first boat we've ever owned. We've never really been on the water except with other friends. Like, we weren't, the captains or anything, so it was kind of scary with a brand new boat, not knowing the water depth and everything. So anyways, just make sure the wires are nice and tight so you don't run into any issues. And right here, we got the wires routed. I plugged them in. I didn't plug them in tight enough, so make sure y'all do that. But now we just gotta plug up the power. And our fuse box is right here at the captain's console, and you can just push the wires in from the back of it, push it through. And I will recommend to you to disconnect the battery before you do this. I don't know if it's something I did or if the fuse was already bad, but whenever I was initially going to power this thing up, I realized it wasn't working. and I found out that it had a bad fuse. It's kind of a good thing, but again, I don't know if it was me. It's probably me. But anyways, just make sure you guys have power disconnected from the battery whenever you're doing this, just in case you don't blow a fuse or anything. I failed to do that, and I had to troubleshoot why. But on these here, it's just some wires you got to put these terminals on. The red ones are the smaller ones, so I like to use the red ones on these small wires. Those other ones are blue, but those other wires are a little bit bigger, so the red ones go on the super small wires. You just strip them, put the terminals on, and you just pick one of those empty fuses. I picked the one on the bottom. It was far away from everything, so my whole plan was not to short anything out, but I think I did. But anyways, yeah, make sure the battery's powered off whenever you're doing this. And there's also another tip I'll tell you guys if you guys have a sun tracker, about those red lights after we get this actually installed. But once it's wired up, we'll power it up. We'll show you guys a little bit of what it looks like. Another thing I want to mention, the low rinse Hook 7, it came with a 3 amp fuse, and I'm putting it on a 5 amp fuse right now, which I didn't know it at the time because the look of the fuse it came with didn't look like it was going to fit in this fuse box, but it does. So good thing that fuse did go out, or I would have put it on a wrong amp rated fuse, which is not recommended. Use the fuse that comes with it, and if it doesn't work with your guys' model, they do have a little fuse box you can put in line with it. I didn't need to use it again because this one has a fuse box itself, but we are getting close to the little red light tip I was telling you guys about earlier. The red dots that you guys see that are on the inside of each one of those fuses, I found out that if it's red, like if it's lit up, that means that you have a bad fuse. And you'll see whenever I connect this, you see that red light just flash there. That was the first time I touched it to it, so I don't know if it was actually me or if it was a bad fuse already. It could be either or, but again, to minimize any kind of confusion, just disconnect the battery like I was saying earlier. But there's that light again, and when you see a lit up red light like that, it's pretty much telling you, hey, your fuse is out. So that's a little tip for you sun tracker owners if you guys have a fuse box like this one. Alright, I found out why it wasn't working. Just so you know, you might want to disconnect the battery whenever you're working on this down here, because I blew that 5 amp fuse, and I thought this was going to be a bigger spot, so I replaced that 5 amp fuse with that 3 amp fuse. So if it's a red light, if you see those red dots there, if you got a red light there and you got a sun tracker, likely you have a bad fuse. Okay. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much the installation of this. Make sure you put everything back. You know, that carpeted panel that covers up your electrical wires and stuff under there. Make sure you guys put that back in. I did zip tie all those wires back there. I just ran out of video here. But we did catch a nice little blue cat one day out on the boat. She's a nice little 8-pounder. I like to catfish, and this is a perfect rig for a catfishing boat. And that's pretty much it. That's how I installed the Lowrent 7 X fish finder on my Sun Tracker 22 XP3 model boat. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.